We can do hard things, you guys. This one is just very hard. Hi there, I'm Alexandra Beuter, and welcome to Laundry Room Part 2, where things are finally happening. So let's get started with the very first thing we did, which is of course the wallpaper. And what you just saw me measuring was the plumb line. So essentially that just makes sure that you start the wallpaper off completely square, because believe it or not, most walls are not square. And if you don't first make sure things are level, it can go off into an angle slowly and you don't realize it until it's too late. So you really want to start with a perfect square line on your first piece, and then you can just go from there and not worry about it too much. I would check every once in a while to make sure things continue square, but that first piece of wallpaper is definitely the most important to get straight. This is semi-permanent wallpaper, which I've shared in my videos for years. I've used it in every house we've ever had. This is our third house, and I just love it because there isn't a serious commitment. If you are selling your house, if you are over it, then all you do is just pull it off. Like, it's as easy as literally pulling it off. And there are typically two kinds. So there's the pre-pasted, which has the adhesive on the back. That kind is a little bit thinner than the kind that we used, where you put the glue up on the wall first and then the paper over it. And the kind that we used, I think it looks a little more like realistic since it's a little bit thicker, but they both work great. We had a lot of problems, guys. Honestly, this was the hardest wallpaper project we've ever done, and we've done a lot, and I think there were several factors that go into that. First and foremost, we do have some texture on our walls. It's just a lot more common in Florida to have textured walls. We just figured, okay, like we need to get a different adhesive and apply it permanently because it just seemed like the safest option. We didn't want to ruin the wallpaper. Like, I only had so much, you know? So I just wanted to make sure I could use all of it. So after we realized that we were not gonna get this wallpaper up with that adhesive, we went to Home Depot and bought a permanent adhesive. So obviously this semi-permanent wallpaper is no longer semi-permanent, but it's a laundry room, it's a small room, so I think it will be fine. I never plan on changing it. I could live here my whole life. I don't know. If not, if someone is not a fan of it, at least it's a small room. So I always think about the updates I do in homes. Like, I could live here forever and be very happy, but if we don't, I don't want to do like hugely permanent things that are super duper custom that somebody else might not like. So that's just always in the back of my head whenever I do house projects. We started feeling a lot more confident about how the wallpaper was applying with the permanent adhesive. It was just a lot smoother overall. And I also wanted to mention I may not have mixed the semi-permanent adhesive as well as I should have. I had some chunks. They say pour slowly to avoid that. So honestly, it could have been a number of things. Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to day 3 of this wallpaper project. Obviously, it's been very time-consuming, taken a lot longer than I was expecting, and today I'm going to be doing this solo, so I'm looking forward to just like focusing and getting as much done as possible. And I do have some really good ideas on how to cover these 2 boxes, so we're going to talk about that throughout the voiceover, continue to get this done. And I know some people will ask about the excess wallpaper at the top. And a few places in the bottom. I don't know if it's cut everywhere, but I'm just gonna wait on the top until all of it's done, and then I'm gonna have Chad do it because it's really hard for me to reach the top corner, and I just don't want to rip anything, and I also want the glue completely set before we cut it. That way there isn't any wet glue that gets on the front of the paper, because if that happens, it's a lot more noticeable. There's a few areas where the edges are sticking up where there wasn't enough of the glue, so So once all the wallpaper is done, then I'm gonna go back to any seams that aren't flat, stick a little bit of this behind there, and it's just a lot more precise, obviously, than this huge roller. So a little bit tedious, but absolutely gorgeous. We can do hard things, you guys. We can do hard things. This one is just very hard. Well, we're off to run errands for the laundry room, hopefully find some great stuff. I need some cool, interesting wall art, as you know, for the wall that the door is on, since there's so many things I need to hide. So hopefully I find some really intricate stuff. I'm gonna stop at a Goodwill real quick and look for some wall art. For years, so many of you have been telling me that I should thrift more for home decor, and I totally agree with you. It's just, I am in such a phase of life where like I don't have time for anything, and every once in a while I try and thrift, but I rarely find anything, and then it's like I really need that time back, you know? So we're gonna go to Goodwill, hopefully we'll find some stuff, and then we're gonna go to an arts and crafts store. I need some paint for something. I'm gonna try that some of you are gonna love and some of you are gonna be confused by. And then if I have time after that, I'm gonna run to Home Goods too. So I didn't have a ton of luck with wall art quite yet, but that's okay. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a process to find the perfect item, since I have a fairly strict palette as far as like the colors and the vibe that I'm going for in there. And now I'm gonna tell you guys what this paint is for. You're gonna think I'm crazy, and maybe I am, I probably am, but all of this paint, I can't even hold all of it at the same time, is for this box thing. I'm gonna try and paint something cool. I honestly don't even know yet. I'm gonna watch some reels or TikToks and try and figure it out. Probably something a lot more abstract. This is extremely random, so if it doesn't work out, I have a ton of extra wallpaper. I'll just put some wallpaper over it. But I love when you walk into like an older home or a boutique store and it's just like so eclectic and heavily decorated, and an eyesore, like an inevitable eyesore that you can't really do anything with, they've turned it into something just really cool and unique and beautiful and artistic. So why not at least try? If it doesn't work out, we will figure it out together. So this part is one of the most creative parts of this video, and I love taking a risk. Like, I know some of you guys watch my videos because you love my style, and some of you guys watch my videos because you would never decorate how I decorate, but you just want to see what it looks like. So that is totally like what I think of when I start painting this box, because I know it sounds crazy, but I really think it's going to be cool, especially by the end of it. So we have our base layer done, and I am using acrylic paint in a matte finish, and I always recommend that you just get the paintbrushes in the kids section because honestly they are so much cheaper. So I'm starting with the leaves here, and I'm just going to be doing a lot of layering, and I basically learned how to do this, like I said, from Instagram Reels and TikToks, just watching a bunch of people sharing their painting process and trying to figure it out in an amateur way. So I'm going to make leaves in a couple of colors, just adding a little more white to the paint to make it a little bit lighter, and then I'll do some accent lines on the leaves to give them a little more dimension so they're not so flat. And what you guys are looking at is not the finished product by any means. I'm going to keep adding to it, and I'll give you a further update in part 3. But so far, I think it's looking pretty good, and I just cannot wait to make it even more intricate. I honestly think if you are a super amateur like I am, the more intricate and the more detail that you can add over time and layer, the better it's going to look. So I would say this is about maybe like 60% done right now. I can't wait to add even more dimension in the flowers. The next thing we need to talk about that I need your opinion on is a new tile. So in part 1, I told you that we were going to do the tile all the way around the top half of the room, but as we got started with the wallpaper and the more I was thinking about it, I was afraid it could look a little bit outdated. So I definitely am doing it obviously above the folding table, as you can see, but on the other walls I decided to wallpaper all the way up. And now that we are not going to use so much tile, we're going to pick something a little more intricate. So let me know from these options what you guys think, but I cannot wait to see this. I've also been talking about the cabinet that's going to go on the wall above the washer and dryer. I've worked on it a little bit here and there, and I've shared small clips of it in other videos, but this week I'm going to really kick it into high gear on those cabinets, and it's going to be a fabric front. So also very different and unique and fun and cool, and I just think a laundry room is like the perfect place to take a ton of decorative risk and have fun with it, because you know, it's a small room, and if I'm going to take a risk anywhere, it's definitely going to be a laundry room. So I'm so excited to share those cabinets with you once they're finished, fully painted. I have the perfect fabric to go, and they're up on the wall, and I just like picture myself opening that cabinet all the time and just loving what it looks like. So that's going to be so fun to share too. Now let's talk hardware and finishes. This is what really completes the space, makes it look very cohesive and intentional. And the first thing I knew I had to have are valet hooks. One, they sound super luxe and like fancy, but also they're so practical and perfect for a laundry room space where you need to hang things up, air dry them. You need to obviously hang things on hangers. I know I'll just use them, you know, for a bunch of different purposes, and I'm so excited to have those. And then I also wanted to share the hardware that I ordered for the cabinet doors. Again, we're just gonna have 2 cabinet doors. Actually, no, we're gonna have 4 cabinet doors. I totally just spaced on that. We're gonna have 4 cabinet doors, 2 sets of cabinets next to each other. So this is the hardware for that as well. So I want to give you guys a true progress update of exactly where we are and how the room is looking. But before I can do that, we need to clean it up. And I started this with some clips of the top half so you guys could see what the wallpaper looks like once it's cut, a little more uniform. And again, this was so tedious, but I never regret a wallpaper because I just love it so much. I feel like nothing elevates a room like a wallpaper. And honestly, I would wallpaper the entire house if I could, but but I will slowly but surely be adding it to more spaces for sure. I did just have 2 more pieces of wallpaper to put up underneath the folding table, and I actually really like that this pattern is super forgiving because I couldn't find the right pieces. I saved them, but as you saw, it was a hot mess in here, so I just found similar looking strips of wallpaper, and no one is gonna notice that they don't line up perfectly. Now I'm gonna get everything off the folding table, wipe it down, and then we will get into those after clips. And I just cannot wait to show you guys too what the painted box ends up looking like. I'm gonna take my time with it, keep adding to it for part 3, but I really just wanted to have a lot of dimension, and I wanted to turn into a happy accident. Like, it's so random and weird that there's that box there, but if it is really cool and artistic, it's going to feel like a very, very happy accident. So that's the goal. I am just going to vacuum the floor in here, put back the rolling carts, and then we will see where we are at. And that is essentially everything I have to share with you in part 2 of this laundry room makeover. I really hope you guys are enjoying the process and seeing everything, and I'm so excited for part 3 because we're gonna have just like significant updates in there. The tile on the wall, the cabinets on the wall, hopefully shelving, we will see. Definitely the back wall will be all figured out and painted and pictured and artworked and done. So thank you so much for watching and spending the time with me as always. If you did enjoy this video, I would be so appreciative if you'd give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I have recent videos and more down below, so don't miss out on that description box, and I will see you right here in a few days in a brand new video. Bye!